All right, so we're back again doing another tier list. This time we're gonna rank all the Cadres and then some. So as you see, we have Orochi, Sairochi, and all those good stuff. Um, so we're gonna rank some extra characters as well. Pre-redraw Phoenix Man,
We're, we're doing this right after the last one, by the way. Like literally,
like literally right after.
not even 30 minutes after, because he needs videos. Why not?
Yeah, we gotta get the filler videos out, so we might as well. Um, I'm just gonna put. I only grabbed Bakuzan and Haragiri for the sake of like assuming that Haragiri was a cadre and Bakuzan was cadre level. They can't really go anywhere higher than this, because they're just kind of stated to be like, or Bakuzan stated to be dragon level or cadre level, and Haragiri is just maybe a cadre because he was sent to like recruit and was already a part of the swordsmen's who should scale above like the disciples, and so in base he should be like above the disciples. Monsterization is like a huge amp, so
And we know that cadres are sent to recruit people because Neon and Goketsu do it. So
yeah.
in all likelihood, he probably is a cadre. In which case, well, like assuming we're giving Bakuzan like cadre level skilling, like giving him like the benefit of the doubt, they would probably just like be like vaguely above like human Garo. So
Yeah, they're just vaguely above human guard. We can't really assert them any higher than this. If you just feel like Bakuzan is stronger than like Gums, then sure. I don't I don't really care. They all have really no scaling.
just like
Gums,
with all like that within like
yeah,
that baseline cadre
yeah.
bubble.
You might be able to argue that like these two are actually stronger than Gums, maybe because Gums like gets held back by like Tank Top Master to a degree for like a while. And Tank Top Master scales below Human Garo, and these guys like these two should scale like maybe above half monster, but these guys are like dead by the time that statement is made, so it's kind of
Maybe you could like interpret the statement of destructive power as like including his it's a bit weird, but maybe you could like interpret it to include his digestion along with his biting strength
yeah,
if you wanted to go with that to try and justify his placement.
yeah. So we're just gonna put him there. Same thing with Neon. Neon kind of has feats, but more so in that like unquantifiable cadre level tier.
At the very
Not
least, Neon is like a better matchup due to his ability, so you'd be able to
yeah,
like swerve and get in between everyone else. But
yeah,
like
like
in terms of
yeah, like perception blitzes Purry basically has like way more utility. Doesn't really do much against Drive Knight, but is able to like maybe arguably damage Bishop or not Bishop Rook. So skill somewhere, but definitely just kind of has a better skill set and is maybe a little bit quantifiably higher because he has feats. But same thing here for base ugly.
really, this is just like the oh yeah, for base ugly, it's kind of the same where like when he first fights a My Mask, underground base, he's like just like baseline cadre. The reason he would be above the other ones is because he gets like more unquantifiable amps upon his like the baseline cadre level than others, so he would just
Yeah,
be like above to a vague degree.
yeah. So if like all the baseline cadre were like I don't know like 100 on the scale, he gets a couple amps beyond that, so he
He'd be
should be
like 100.
stronger.
He'd be like
Yeah.
110, for
Yeah,
example.
like for example in originally right, a Mind Mask is able to like tank all his attacks when he's a cadre level, but on the surface he's able to like destroy a Mind Mask skull, which is a better quantifiable feat than what these guys have.
And rip him in half as well.
Yeah, and rip him in half. Yeah, so it's a better quantifiable feat. Also, you could say that his redirected punch like put a hole in Gums, so that's another thing.
Oh yeah, yeah, he does like. I mean, maybe you could say that's like
Yeah,
banging
it's
redirection.
amped, but yeah, it's amped, but it
It's
still put a hole in him. So, like, even
yeah,
half the force of putting a hole in both sides of Gums probably scales him above.
he's pretty definitively like at least stronger than Gums, if
hmm
nothing else.
Yeah, if nothing else, yeah. If you want to say maybe Neon is like stronger or like at least has a better kit, that's fine. But these guys really don't matter too much because
It's just the this is the baseline
yeah.
cadre tier.
And then like slightly above that, we have like the WinCon LOL characters. Um, these two kind of get their own tier because they are above like baseline cadre, you could argue, but also these guys don't really have a win con except maybe Gums having a win con on Even Ultra Water.
Like, for like even not for water, like um for AP again, like the damage output for like their jets again, you could just say like okay baseline cadre level, but it's like it's the fact that like it's literally water. So like how are the other people gonna beat them. Besides Gums maybe eating evil natural water, but even then, could Gums even get close enough, like with the beams? So
Yeah, it's hard to say, but Neon definitely can't like cleave his way through evil natural water or black ass. Definitely not black ass. Um,
Black Ass, I know people are gonna have
yeah,
like some eyebrow raised for that, but like the reason like Black Ass is there is because like although he could theoretically beat a lot of people above him, his like actual ability to overwhelm in terms of like physical scaling caps at
yeah,
Darkshine level.
exactly. He's like he kind of admits that no matter how many times he like multiplies and like gangs up on Darkshine, there's just no way that he could beat him. He's like, yeah, this gorilla just can't lose, right? But
He like needs to turn into like he thinks like okay, we need to merge to beat
yeah,
Darkshine.
exactly. So there's like if that's the case, then pretty much everybody above him would scale to or above that Darkshine level. So his overwhelming ability simply wouldn't work. And there's some actual like matchup bases that are pretty bad for him as well, which would be vomited. An entire tier above, just because his like feats are way better. He's able to like outspeed Darkshine, match his blows, damage him with the vomit.
Actually,
Yeah,
go ahead.
yeah. We've seen his vomit actually just melt black S cells, and he actually gets like stronger or can replenish himself based on it. So he'd have like theoretically infinite stamina, like be able to continuously regenerate all his like vomit off of black S.
Yeah. Yeah, 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 pretty much what you said. Like you're just like it's just a really good matchup for like vomited unless you think Black Ass would like figure out like how to like just like let him melt over time, but like that doesn't really matter because this is like you just scale higher regardless.
Yeah, pretty much. I wouldn't say that you should really change anything about that. This one's weird. Um,
Oh yeah.
this one's really weird.
So,
So you could argue that he should be or it should be lower, but it's weird to say. So in terms of speed, it's cracked just because in terms of speed, even Ultra Water versus King is able to react to Monster Garo. Who's able to like off guard Plat, and like obviously he should be at least as strong as when he was fighting Bang, and definitely as strong as when he's fighting Flashy and Suppressed Platinum. So
yeah,
it's
because when Garo wakes up, yeah.
yeah. The only problem with this Evil Natural Water is that it has no AP feats. The last time we saw Evil Natural Water, albeit a weaker form against Darkshine, couldn't even really damage Darkshine. The most you could say is if you could argue that the amount of force that Evil Natural Water was putting out against Darkshine was able to push him back to a much better degree than Half Monster Garo was able to push Darkshine back. So if you want to argue that, then maybe in terms of AP skills around like Half Monster Garo at the beginning of the Darkshine fight, then sure.
Or like I guess like after Darkshine's tackle when he's like big like after the tackle but before he turns spiral, I suppose.
Yeah. And like the matchup here as well was probably in Evil Natural Water's favor because he could like dissolve the acid or something or
And
dilute
like
it.
obviously the acid isn't going to do anything to the water. Like you can't
Yeah,
like
he
melt.
can't melt the water. That being said, this character canonically beat Vomited Ugly, Golden.
And evil natural water wouldn't be able to do anything because like
Golden is
you
Darkshine
can't
level.
yeah you can't really prove that like evil natural waters like jets got so much stronger that they could literally one shot Darkshine, which is what Golden does. So
Mm-hmm. So Golden should be able to like commit a similar feat to what Darkshine did to Evil Natural Water and disperse it. So
yeah,
like it's even stronger than Darkshine amount of force because if it's able to
might
damage his
take a little
durability, then
might take a little longer because evil natural water is like
is
bigger in its
bigger.
form base.
Yeah, but Golden is also very much like stronger than Darkshine, like even in terms of like AP, like way more in
Yeah,
terms of AP because if he's able to damage him, and Darkshine's durability scales massively above his AP, then it's kind of
and he
self-explanatory.
simply he simply like does better against like vomited fear ugly even on like a physical level regardless.
Yeah,
Like even putting aside like him tanking like the acid, he just beats him up like way bad, way worse.
yeah, pretty much. This one's gonna make a lot of people mad, to be honest. Homeless
I
Emperor.
mean, um, okay. The thing with homeless emperor is that like his orbs, his like light orbs are honestly really cracked because that feat of Golden S beating up Fear Ugly really badly that I brought up earlier. Homeless Emperor does that pretty like very casually with like a straight line bombardment and leaves Vomited Fear Ugly in a far worse state than Golden S did with multiple punches.
Yeah, and that's like nowhere near like he has like things like the symphony that he uses against Tatsumaki, where if something like that hit Golden, then Golden would probably like be vaporized or something.
The
So
thing with Homeless is that like Homeless's individual orbs, while they may not be strong, but like as shown with Vomited Fear Ugly, they build up damage very quickly. So he could just spam Golden Ass with like all those orbs, and eventually he would just like destroy Golden Ass.
yeah, so like to recap on that, like this would be like the baseline Cadre. I I don't even care. Um, Cadre, and then like this would be like above baseline, like, and this tier would be like the Dark Shine Slayers, like. So the next characters
Yeah.
in question, the goats, Hellfire and Gilwen.
Yeah, Hellfire and Gilwind are pretty self-explanatory. They just scale to Flashy Flash, and Flashy, at least to some degree, to like a significant degree, I would say, scales to Platinum. Now, whether or not Hellfire and Galewind like beat up Golden Nest is kind of a debate. I would say they do. I would say scaling to Flashy Flash to some degree, who
Is
scales to
better.
a character
Yeah.
far stronger than Golden Nest, is probably better than like what Golden Nest has. So I would put
Yeah.
him above like Golden Nest as well.
Another thing you could say is that it's actually funnily enough, their Hellfire and Gale are able to clash swords with Flashy before they like drop their swords and everything to like it like their speed increases, but I actually don't think their AP, like their punches, are like physically stronger than when they have their swords. They're just not able to they're able to use their punches like much easier in their monster states. So if you want to argue that he's able to like clash swords with Flashy and they'd be able to output like a similar level, at least to some degree, of AP as Flashy, then with their swords they'd be able to like slice up someone like Golden S or at least like damage him. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
because even like weaponless Flashy should be around like this level.
Yeah,
Uh,
because like if Flashy Flash can like physically flash with Platinum and Garo without his weapons, and then these like two can like clash with like Flash with his weapon with just their bare hands, and they should be pretty tough. Yeah.
yeah, and then following up, obviously, just their stronger forms. We said this last time, but Galen and
Yeah.
Hellfire just kind of state that they're stronger. They think they can fight Flashy. They state that Flashy is tougher. So
They would have like some knowledge to imply that they lost really badly. The scars across their stomachs, like just implies they got cut in half. They would be able to probably come back to
yep.
conclusion.
And the fact that they state that Flashy is tougher would imply that they did regain their memories. So they should know that they lost and they got beat up, and they admitted inferiority previously. I don't see a reason why it would have changed now.
Yeah. They'd just be above their monster selves in the
Um,
MA art.
this is weird. You could probably put them up a tier. So this is pretty debatable. I want to have EC here because he's kind of like a benchmark, right? If you think that Flashy scales relatively to Bang, and you don't think Flashy's like a lot stronger and Platinum is a lot stronger, and that the Garo that was in that fight is a lot stronger, then you can simply argue that EC would scale above these guys because they're more so like that Bang slash maybe up slightly above Bang level, while EC would be able to beat up Bang like with all of his utility, like his Awakening Breath. Yeah,
Elder Centipede, like yeah, like um, if I remember correctly, Murata even says that like in the notes, there's nothing like for like the storyboards. The plan was that there is nothing Bang, Bomb, or Genos can do to ever beat EC. So
yeah, and even Bomb, who's stronger than Bang, is like we're screwed. Like if there's more in the association this strong, you might as well leave. Like
yeah, you need to retire. If
yeah. So you could argue that, and then
it would also be simply like a good matchup for EC against like those physical fighters, like size and regeneration and stuff like that.
absolutely.
That.
So we can even put EC here. It's hard to say. I'll leave him there for a second because these guys are gonna be. It's gonna be something to go through here. So
Well, you can cover
Oh,
Phoenix Man since you covered Sheldon from
yeah.
last time.
Yeah. I'll deal with that. So,
Yeah.
like I've said before, Phoenix Man states that he's like omnipotent, the number one of all living beings. Scale him above the idea of what EC is. He's seen EC rampage 2 times. He has personal knowledge on EC. He also should have knowledge from Giro Giro. I don't know if Giro gave him like a numerical power level or expressed strength through some other means, but Phoenix Man would have that knowledge along with seeing EC both fight Metal Knight, Metal Bat, Bang, Bomb, Genos, all that good stuff. So Phoenix Man still thinks he's number one among all living beings, scaling him above characters like his thoughts of Orochi, maybe even Giro Giro, who also scales above EC. Um, so if you want to make that argument, then Phoenix Man would be like multiple layers above EC. But at bare minimum, he should scale around that EC level. I don't see why not.
Um, with Goketsu, there's statements from Giro implying that she holds Goketsu in a higher regard compared to Elder Centipede. For example, when Goketsu is defeated by Saitama in this fight tournament and Giro finds his like corpse, she is like completely flabbergasted at like the fact that Goketsu could even be defeated. She's like who could have done this? And it's all like we know that Giro has like a list of like people in her head who could fight Elder Centipede, like Tatsumaki, Metal Knight, King Blast, stuff like that. But even with that list in her head, she still thinks that like Goketsu being defeated is like completely
Yeah,
surprising.
implausible. Yeah, like it doesn't even make sense, right? That's backed up by obviously like Genos' statement. Genos having seen like Darkshine and Kabuto fight, saw Metal Bat fight, saw the
Yep.
Melzigard fight. So anything that he's seen basically would also scale him above like the likes of like the Meteor, because he thinks
Yeah.
Goketsu is like on Saitama's level, if not stronger,
Yeah.
because you need
If
like
you take yeah, you're good.
yeah, because you need like the S class and Saitama.
Yeah, like Genos basically thinks that like Saitama, Tatsumaki, like debate, just like yeah, like it's a really cracked statement because yeah, if you use the VPS scaling as well, and if you think Genos' statement is like somewhat valid, which I don't see why it wouldn't be because he's seen the people who's like he's
Absolutely. Yeah.
mentioned. Yeah,
So I think it's fair for Goketsu to be here. Um, if you want to put him lower, that's fine. Bare minimum, he'd be like around here.
above Dark Time
Yeah,
because
he'd just be
like
above Darkshine.
yeah. Now, oh boy, for
Oh yeah,
Rover's a bit weird. I'll go over like his durability first because like Rover is a weird character to scale. He would be above Goketsu, basically for the same reasons Goketsu is above Elder Centipede, in which that Giro seems to hold best regard out of the three. And the reason for this is, despite knowing that both Elder Centipede and Goketsu have been like beaten by this point, she hears a commotion, which is Saitama punching Rover, and she thinks like, was Rover defeated? And then she says, no way. She thinks even with Goketsu and EC dead, she thinks it's implausible that Rover could lose. And on top of that, when Psycho's is like getting just like put in a pack and smoked by Tatsumaki, the first monster she calls to is Rover. She's like, Rover, come take a bite out of Tatsumaki. She thinks like Rover is strong enough to like do something against Tatsumaki.
yeah. And this is the same Tatsumaki that she's like multiple Cadre would need to like pull up on her, you know. So
And like Tatsumaki bare minimum is like an EC rival before like her perception of like Tatsumaki before this is like she's like a rival to Elder Centipede. But after this, when she finds out Tatsumaki, she's still like
oh,
yeah.
yeah. So Rover should be like Rover's arguably like above, but it's weird to say. You could also say that Orochi got excited when he found out Saitama was able to knock down Rover and like make him feel inferior and make him sit down and run away. So making Rover scared was enough for Orochi to come to the conclusion that this is the same man that defeated Goketsu and Elder Centipede. So you could argue that as well.
The only questionable part about Rover is like the strength of his orbs,
Yeah.
because Rover isn't able to like beat a far weaker half monster Garo than the one that Darkshine fought, and Darkshine just straight up did more damage to Garo debatably than Rover did with orbs. But you could say that Garo specifically adapted to like the heat of the orbs rather than the force overall. So if you want to like upscale Rover's AP that way, you could.
Yeah. And like we know that it was gonna damage like Bang, for example, which is fair enough. So, and if you use like the other translation, then he may have been able to damage Bomb, which is even better. So
Yeah.
like Rover, if you want to argue his AP is like horrible, then like yeah, sure, you can move him down there. But overall, like his durability scales insanely. Like he's able to like tank Crossfang. Like so, I
Yeah.
don't think downplay is gonna be served there. Um, you could arguably put this guy a tier above, but I'm not gonna do that. Platinum, absolutely ridiculous. Obviously, Platinum's able to like contend, actually just straight up beat up Flashy Flash. Able to contend with like an evolving and adapting Monster Garo, much stronger than when he fought Bang. Like
And this, like, yeah, and this Monster Garo is like probably like even while he's asleep, he's strong like Elder Centipede because he can just spam techniques that like completely destroy Elder Centipede's carapace.
yeah, exactly. And like if you want to argue his confidence in beating like King would scale above like EC. So
Yeah.
if you want to argue that, that's like another thing that would get him above. So Platinum should just has better quantifiable speed feats than anyone below him. Uh,
Yeah, like he just says like yeah, he's just like just way faster than like everyone on the
yeah,
basis of like scaling to Flashy Flash, scaling to like Hellfire and Gale Wind, stuff like that.
yeah, exactly. So you could argue him pretty high, unless you think that for some reason I don't know who would ever think this. Unless you think he scales to Sage, um, then then maybe you think he's like Z tier, and he could beat up like
Or
Orochi.
like yeah, if you think he's like stronger than Orochi, like even like with like Sage stuff or like with that like regardless of that, if he's stronger than for other reasons, then sure he would go in Z tier. But like I think the more reasonable like as like the strongest cadre, but not quite like Orochi tier.
Yeah, I just don't think that he's beating Orochi. The Sage scaling, it sucks. All Garo did was punch Sage's face and not actually damage him. He got Sage to recognize that he was like pretty strong, which is it's something, but again, really unquantifiable. And I think the last character in this tier,
Yeah.
yeah,
Oh man. Okay.
yeah,
Well, we kind of covered this in the last video, but Phoenix Man's your boy. And also, like this version of Phoenix Man is preposterously strong. So you want to go
yeah,
into it?
yeah. So this Phoenix Man is ridiculous. Like this one's already strong, right? But this one is like ridiculous. Not only is like the hacks really insane, especially if you want to give him like say that he can just bring out Gale Wind and Hellfire, then that's like even more to him. But if you don't want to argue that, right? His regen is ridiculous. His adaptation is dumb, but his AP and speed are like ridiculous, right? So Monster, Hellfire, and Gale Wind at the same time can't even scratch Brave Giant at all. Can't even scratch it, right? And are still being like perceived and watched, at least by Child Emperor, right? In Brave Giant. But Phoenix Man pre-redraw blitzes and tears off the arm of Brave Giant super hyper casually. So he's able to like the same character that is probably like at least maybe damaging like Platinum, these two together can't even like scratch, can't even dent Brave Giant. Meanwhile, Phoenix Man can like one shot entire parts of its body and blitz it even further than Hellfire and Gale Wind, who scale to Flashy Flash. So in terms of especially AP, Phoenix Man pre-redraw should be above Platinum.
And what's even worse is that later on, when Phoenix Man like basically takes the Millennium Emperor Nova, which should be Brave Giant's like absolute strongest attack by that point, after the fact, Phoenix Man is literally just chilling in the sky with half of his suit singed, but like otherwise completely undamaged. He basically tanked that attack.
All right, so next it's gonna be like the Orochi tier of characters. Um, I know,
I
like,
think,
yeah,
yeah, I think like, oh yeah, Psycho. Yeah, we're gonna talk about that.
yeah,
The thing about Psychos is that the main thing is that she just has like a real crazy higher assertion, like scaling chain above like Giro.
yeah. Like this Giro is supposed to be like over EC or like over Tatsumaki, who's over EC, and then Max Power Giro is supposed to be stronger, and then Psycho states that Giro was nothing. Like even after Psychos mentions the fact that multiple, like she would need multiple cadre to jump Tatsumaki, to distract her, not even beat her, just to distract her. And then she drinks the elixir and thinks that she can like solo like kill Tatsumaki.
Yeah. It's also the fact. What was it? No, yeah, that's a big part of it. Yeah.
Yeah, and another thing is like she's able to like kind of fight off like an arguably like stronger Orochi. Like,
Oh yeah, yeah.
yeah,
Because what Psycho says is when she and Orochi are fusing, she says that Psycho or that Orochi he said that Orochi has gotten stronger, and we know that Psychos have like a basis for how strong Orochi was before, because Giro can like sense how strong monsters were, and Orochi was obviously above all the Cadres, being the Monster King, being like the strongest monster on the planet. And even after Orochi has gotten stronger, after like a near-death experience, which is how his powers work, because that's how he acquired his powers, similar to Garo in that manner. Even after that, our Psychos is still able to like win the battle of wills and like physically overpower him with their psychic abilities to the point where it's like a split fusion as opposed to Orochi simply like fully assimilating her.
yeah. So I wouldn't say that like Psychos is like demonstrably infinitesimally lower than Orochi. If you don't think that Psychos could beat like these guys, like you don't think she could beat Plat, that's fine. Um, but still would bare minimum be above Giro and would be above all of like these baseline cadre or like these pre-amp cadre, I guess. Um, Psychos is just kind of ridiculous. Um, and even against like if you think like oh Platinum's just like way faster, she still has like the ability even as Giro before like being Psychos and before taking the elixir is able to like multiply gravity by 300 against Tatsumaki. So like the Espers have like ways of defeating these cadre. Then the next one up,
Yeah,
obviously be Orochi, but he's already placed. It's common sense. Orochi's stronger than any of the
he's the strong
cadre. Yeah, strongest
he's the
monster.
strongest monster on the planet. Yeah, it's pretty
Yeah,
self-explanatory.
like bare minimum one shot level above EC. Like it's yeah no
Like he knows that Goketsu and EC like died, and he looks at Saitama and he thinks he did it, and he's like, okay, now I'm kind of getting excited. He thinks
yeah
like those two just like being killed is like, okay, you're now like kind of worth my time.
yeah exactly. And Rover as well getting beat up. So yeah, that's ridiculous. Even Natural Ocean, the argument is just pretty basic. Like, even Natural Ocean and Sage were like put in after Orochi by God, so they should at least scale bare minimum above base Orochi, just
And
because
like
they're supposed to
it,
fight Saitama.
even disregarding all that, like evil massively be superior to Platinum S based on the fact that like it can like damage or like affect
Yeah,
Garo with
effect
like its
Gara, yeah.
engine. Also like no one below can just
Has
beat
the
it
win
regardless.
con, yeah. No one below could like disperse even Natural Ocean at all, besides maybe like Orochi's Gaia Cannon. But so
Yeah,
that's
pretty
that's
much.
something. Pre draw Orochi. Um, he's the goat. Like he dodged like Saitama, reacted to Saitama, which is like ridiculous. Obviously, I don't.
I know that Saitama was like putting in a at least like a decent well not like obviously not like a literal decent portion of effort, but like
Yeah,
he was at least somewhat trying compared to other monsters because he's like, okay, I'm gonna punch you like normally. So like and Orochi's still able to like avoid not only one but two strikes from Saitama. So it's actually a pretty good feat.
yeah. So like you could say that if we were going by like the timeline, then maybe Ivanatra Ocean is still stronger, but like there's no way that Ivanatra Ocean has any speed feats that match up to Orochi pre redraw. So you can change these two no matter what. Either way, pre-redraw Orochi is stronger than normal Orochi, and probably the most self-explanatory on the list, Psycho Orochi.
For some reason people think that like hold on. Yeah, for some reason, people think that like Orochi is like weaker than Orochi. Like I've seen some people say that. Um, the gap between Orochi and Sairochi is insane. Like just at a baseline, after a fusing, the first thing Orochi says is that he's going to turn water, and the last interaction he had with Saitama was like him literally
One
one-shotting like
shot.
Orochi and like horribly overpowering the guy again. So
Yeah.
Orochi remembers that, but thinks like the power from fusing with Psychos and like his power from God is like enough to just completely like turn the Saitama into fodder, like literally use him for like a sacrifice.
Yeah. So the fact that like and that's like pre-stabilized and pre like fully absorbing like more of like Earth and its power, which would make it like Prime Psycho Sorochi would be way above that.
Yeah.
Is able to even like kind of mess with Tatsumaki, the most powerful form of Genos we've seen thus far, besides maybe Lightning Core. So pretty much above every like even Jet Rochi, like the way weaker form, is able to like kind of take hits from like all of the S class plus like bomb. So it's kind of insane. Like Psycho Sorochi is really broken, especially in comparison to everyone else here.
It's like and like the degree to which he's like above she is just ridiculous.
Yeah, and Orochi just, especially in terms of AP, is way above anyone here. Like, so I maybe you could argue someone like Plat is faster, and I would be okay with that. That's fine. But Platinum has no way of damaging Psycho Sorochi like whatsoever.
Yeah.
So
So I think that's another list done then.
yeah, pretty easy. The EC Slayers are here. If you really don't think that like someone like Phoenix Man is scaled there, he'd be bare minimum like Darkshine level. Would scale to like homeless. He would scale to homeless Emperor's bigger orbs, like scale above it by like a good degree. There's some here that you could argue, but I think this is pretty much the tier list.
Yep. Alright, so now we're done.